Let's go. Okay, I don't have theme music. So hello, and welcome to welcome to the Buck 2014 Tumblr Pony panel, where over the next hour we will endeavour to enlighten you on the phenomenon that is the explosion of pony content on the social media platform of Tumblr, and teach you how to really sink your teeth in it. Figuratively, of course. If you've found a way to literally sink your teeth into it, then you'd figure out a way to bite a website, and I don't think greyish blue tastes very good. I'm Captain Hoers, author of Firestarter, Spitfire, and aiding me in this education effort are likeable and rebloggable sketchy sounds of Ask Britannia.
Hello.
Woo! Yeah, sketchy! Love you! I can't even. Hazel Hooves, also of Ask Britannia. Follow for the greatest gifts, Mecha of Ask Robot Octavia.
Oh, he's so cute!
And flagged as inappropriate, James Corck of Ask Movie Slate.
Yay! I love your moustache.
Now, contestants, in front of you, you will find the buzzers. You need to draw attention to yourselves, you conceited little boys. Sketchy goes... Hazel goes... Mecha goes... And James goes... You'll also find in front of you, in the event that something becomes quite unbearable, your I find that offensive flags.
Do we need to show these to the audience at one point?
Well, you show them when you find something to be
It's just that I think I've spelt it wrong.
You don't think you have?
That only makes it fit with Tumblr better.
Yes, I guess so.
Points will be awarded for answers that are interesting and cite blogs that illustrate the point well. And members of the audience who've delighted us with your presence at the hour where on any other day I'd be dead to the world. Welcome again. Give a round of applause for yourself. If you would like to ask your questions during the panel, I had hoped to get some kind of Twitter thing set up, but, I'm happy to be interrupted, really. Please, we have a round at the end dedicated to just this, so if you could keep the questions to that round, that would be great.
Just remember to keep it PG.
Oh, yes.
Clean. Family friendly, guys.
Okay.
Family friendly.
So, right, fingers on the buzzers. First question. Why on earth would you want to do something silly like make an Ask blog? Yes.
Why not? But to be fair, it is a good means to exercise your creativity a bit. Or perhaps you want to become well-known in the fandom, or perhaps there are other reasons for you wanting to do it.
Or perhaps you're just bored. You want to do something with it.
I have to say, that was kind of how I started my blog. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, well, I want to do something, and I just made a blog. And it just snowballed from there.
Movie Slate came around the same way. Maybe I should make a pony about movies.
Yeah, all these ideas just turn up at 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's the reason when I do some of my best thinking.
I feel like there's is there anything more insightful that someone can offer for that? Like you'd think that like the reasons that someone starts a blog would they might be deep and meaningful, or is it literally just I'm bored? Well, Tumblr is there.
I can expand a little bit on Hazel.
I'm just saying we got a dump truck full of money poured out. We did ask under duress.
That didn't happen to me.
Unfortunately, Tumblr is not exactly a medium that pays very well. You'll see a few advertisements.
No, this is imaginary money that got dumped on
imaginary money, yes, the YouTube dollars.
Yahoo boy, time.
So, moving on from that, what do you need? This GIF has nothing to do with this question. What do you need to get started with your Tumblr blogs?
An idea.
I concur with the robot. You need an idea.
Yes, ideas.
It's better to start with an idea than to just... oh, sorry.
You need some motivation as well, and you need some idea of, well, as they've been saying, you need an idea. You need some idea of what you're going to do and how you're going to do it.
This is what I've been telling people who've been coming up to me during the convention and asking just anything. What I've been saying is the most important thing is the motivation, like the tools. It's like the tools aren't as important as keeping yourself going for it, because everything else comes later.
Yeah, tools are secondary.
You also need an almost infinite amount of patience sometimes.
Yes.
Yes, that does sound about right. That couch is very quiet.
No, I don't think I can expand further on that, but yeah, I mean, the idea doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It has to be original, and it has to be simple and easy to understand. Like, for example, Robot Octavia. It's Octavia, but a robot. Movie Slate, it's a pony that watches movies. So on and so forth.
I don't know. I didn't think Spitfire was particularly low concept like that. It is. Well, actually, there was no plan going into that. I just made it up as I went along.
That's the other thing that you may want to add to that, is it has to adapt to what you do to yourself. Like, I like simple stuff. I am not that kind of, I don't want to get metal or complicated with like ongoing storylines or subplots or anything like that.
Yes, the thing about starting a Tumblr blog is you're probably doing this at an early point in your artistic career. So you'll be doing a lot of self-discovery during the course of your blog. So you'll find out, what you like doing, or what motivates you. I get motivated by followers because I'm
Vain.
Or even just
Yes.
And we all.
or even just finding a preferred style as you go on.
yes, also that.
You might not necessarily like what you find.
So yes, you'll find out a lot about yourself during the course of running a Tumblr blog. Now, what are the best ways to shoot yourself in the foot? What should you not do when you are starting a blog?
Do not try to take on too much at once. Let's see. Do not try to delve into too many different things at once.
I would argue the opposite, is that Tumblr is the space to just throw yourself at things and see what happens.
Don't try to make everybody happy. You might get the first question, then you answer it, then you get 3, then you get 7, then you get 20. If you try to answer all the questions, you are going to end up burning yourself out.
Yeah, how many unanswered questions are in your inbox at the moment?
1,550 something.
I've only got about 60. What? Where'd you get that many?
I have questions that go back to 2012 that I haven't answered yet. There are movie recommendations that are really good, but I have no ideas for them yet. So they date all the way back.
You'll have to give me my apology. I did say that on any other day I would be completely dead to the world, so I might just be dead to the world now as well. The last of the Red Bull.
Suddenly you turn into an alicorn. Wings.
Gives you wings.
Thanks, Emmy Larson.
or a double Pegasus. You grow another pair of wings.
Just don't become Mark Webb.
I have one for this.
And just consistently come second.
Rude.
I have one for like not shooting yourself in the foot.
Yes.
If along the line you get a hate message either by an anonymous or another user, just don't respond to it. Don't let it get to you. You don't want to come off as someone who gets angered easy, because that would be bad. People might think.
Don't even bother answering it. Just delete it.
Yes,
unless it's an ask blog about the Hulk, then I think that would work.
A blog about the Hulk. You just get a blog entirely dedicated to getting angry about anonymous asks.
Ask Saddle Rager.
Another Hulk.
Fury Bell.
Fury Bell, yeah. Yes, there's a few of those like that. Yes, I think a key thing to take away from this is that if you are having problems with anonymous asks, do not hesitate to turn them off. In fact, even some formats of blogs don't even need asks to run, so it's like, why do you even have it open? Because what I find a lot is that we have a fairly broad distribution of blog formats here. Like we have a sort of isolated. You don't really have a story in Movie Slate so much
Movie Slate
as...
doesn't have a story.
Yeah.
No, the reason for Movie Slate not to have a story is so anyone who's new to the blog can just start whenever they want.
Yeah, so that is that's a perfectly good way to do it. And then on the other end, you have a big old story. But then even then with the story, you can highly integrate it with the asks. Or what I've done with some of my blog is I've just done a story and the asks are there, but if you have an idea in your head, asks can derail it a bit. So it's just take the ask box with a pinch of salt. I suppose what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think we've talked about that point quite a bit, which brings us to the intermission, which is where I have a surprise.
Oh no.
Okay, so for this round, we're turning the ask button off and we're doing something else. I have a collection of objects that were, I'll be fairly honest, I just went down to Poundland and bought a load of stuff. And what we're going to do with this is... no, making it rain! What we're going to do with this is I'm going to throw you some things, and you're going to use this as a prompt to come up with an ask blog using these objects as your prompt. Oh, sorry.
I think I got the good end of the deal. You get this one.
Okay, I don't know who that is. Mm-hmm. The basket is also one of the objects.
Hey. You know what? I'm going to give the basket. You give the guy.
What?
I have no idea who that is in that cutout.
That's. I don't think that's JD.
I have mine.
I think it might be someone from One Direction, but I can't be sure.
It's okay, you don't worry.
You dropped that like it was hot.
Don't touch me with that.
Any magnificent ideas coming from the Ask Britannia couch?
I've got one for these. This is the blog I've come up with is Ask Bottlebrush, who is the one of the skivvies who works at Canterlot Castle, making sure that everything's all the pots and pans and everything nice and clean for the Garang Galloping Gala and all such fine events.
Actually, that actually glows. Okay.
Yes.
I forgot that was a glow stick. I thought it was just a magic wand.
But you see that the fact that it glows is giving ideas as well.
Yeah, the bottle brush is actually not a bad idea. You could have like it could be almost like some kind of Jane Austen-y, Downton Abbey kind of drama of just among servants of the castle. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea.
Downstairs with ponies.
You can do anything with ponies. It's great. So that's part of what makes Ask Blogs a good experimental medium is that you can pretty much fit anything into ponies. You've got movies. You've got Royal. I don't even know what's going on in Ask Britannia anymore. Royal Guards. Oh, I've earned some hate there. You have a story about Royal Guards and Clarion Call, and I'm going to stop digging. You have robots in Equestria somehow, and I don't even know what I'm doing anymore.
Gotta go fast. That's all yours can be said. Gotta go fast.
Yes,
And everything's on fire.
The thing about Firestarter Spitfire is that there weren't any fires started, so the title is a bit of a misnomer. I can't remember where the title came from. It was just, that's a Prodigy song. That's also a Prodigy song. Yeah!
Yeah, you don't have to worry. Stephen King does the same thing and he makes millions, so you're doing the right thing. He does.
So yes, you can do pretty much anything with ponies and it'll work. Now, have you come up with any ideas over there?
I got one. Ask Smoker Stash.
What? Right. Isn't that exactly what that tin says?
Exactly, it's perfect. It fits it perfectly.
So it's just some kind of blog about a...
It's about a blog.
It's a proper gentleman with like a pipe and stuff.
It's a pony with a ridiculously large mustache, which looks different in every panel, and he smokes continuously with a nice big long pipe going huzzah all the time.
That's a story.
Smashing!
I'll do this. My hands.
Jesus.
Yes, you're talking directly into your microphone, Hazel.
Walks around, that's why. There we go.
I did get one, but it's just a really silly one, anyway.
Oh, well, and these ideas weren't silly?
No, they're very serious and professional. What are you talking about?
Yes, nobody will mess with the likes of Ask Smoker Stash.
Kind of like going for kind of ponies in real life kind of scenario.
Oh.
Like it will be something like Darindu crosses a portal and goes to the real world. What happens is that she's like this size, a tiny one. So everything around her is kind of like a trap. So like she gets caught by the basket, or like she gets chased down by this weird ball like in Indiana Jones. Kind of like that. That's
So it's the plot to Equestria Girls 3.
yeah. They go back. They go back to the real world.
Audience gets 10 points.
It suddenly turns into the Lego movie.
I actually really like that idea.
That movie was great.
Yes, because I'm because the ponies in real life blogs. Obviously, there's I just reminded me vicariously of something else, but I'm not. I haven't really seen any the ones with the toys that are interesting. But that would actually be a really interesting one because you see what kind of. You can just like try and miniaturize the classic Indiana Jones traps and just using whatever you have lying around the house.
Yeah, you can actually
or whatever
pull
you
it
can
off.
find in Poundland.
Doing kind of, if you don't have like drawing tools or like if you don't trust your drawing skills, which why shouldn't you? But if you don't, you always can go low budget and with a camera and a toy, you can just make an adventure in your living room, on your garden, whatever.
There are lots of blogs that when people think of Ask blogs, they think of the traditionally drawn format with because it's the closest analog is a webcomic, and that's usually drawn with a story. But there are also things that like that. They just people make use of whatever they have. There's one I particularly like, Ask Terry. Is entirely this sort of Photoshop mishmash of just bad show assets and packaging assets held into this abstract nonsense, and I love it.
I have seen that one. Wasn't it like half of the cast done with the Pony Creator too?
I don't know. I think they're just badly recolored in MS Paint and then saved as JPEGs.
Brilliant.
So I think we did you have an idea, Sketchy? Or?
Yes, I did. Is my mic actually on?
Yes,
Okay,
your microphone is on. And even then, the room is, I think, small enough that even if we didn't have microphones, we could probably shout.
You probably could. Whoa. Who is that?
Me taking my lanyard off.
Oh, okay. I wondered what had happened there. The only idea that comes to mind with this, and it just strikes me as being one that would be inherently awful because the title of it would just be Ask Princess Neon. So that's going to be that's just obviously going to be some sort of
your super original OC.
Yes. Original character, do not steal.
Yes. Yes. It's a little.
I might have a better idea.
Oh.
That could be the cutie mark of Trixie's mother.
Maybe so.
In a disco.
Oh. Yeah, just to have a blog set in the 70s, you know?
And she likes to wear platform horseshoes.
Yes, yeah, I like that.
Obviously some very creatively minded people in our audience.
Yeah. Another 10 points for the audience. Hey! At this rate, you're going to win.
Yeah.
I'm just giving all the points to the audience. Okay, so let's turn the Ask box back on and move back to the questions.
Oh no.
So, how does one, and why should one care about, through the medium of Tumblr, becoming horse famous? Yes?
You shouldn't. You should just do what you want to do. You should do what makes you happy. It goes back to try pleasing everybody. If you try to, unless you are really lucky, you cannot aim to try and become well-known, famous, or anything, because more likely you are going to just crash, burn, and then stop caring about everything about it. You just have to do what you like, what makes you happy. Oddly enough, most of the things that are popular on the internet, they were made because it made those who created them happy.
What if your shallow is a kiddie pool and what makes you happy is followers?
Like you.
I don't have an I find that offensive flag. I kind of walked into that one. I'll just have to
If you're looking to like gain followers, then I think the key thing really is have to be patience, because this kind of thing does not happen overnight.
Yes, Hazel?
Also interact with other blogs, if that really is what you want. You know, commune with other blogs, especially the famous ones. You know, get a feature of that on the Ask Flufflepuff, and your thing will skyrocket by like 10 times.
And asking Sombra.
Yeah.
Interacting with other popular
She's my
blogs
wife.
doesn't always guarantee getting more followers.
Well,
Because you can get featured in a very popular blog, but if people check your blog and they don't like the idea, they're not gonna follow you.
it's kind of like the Colbert bump, But if it's not very good in the first place, then it's just going to go right off. Yes, Sketchy?
Yeah, essentially what everyone else has said, and you should not look on the follower count as being some measure of success.
Yes, it's not a score.
It's not a score, no. Much like here, the points do not matter.
Sorry, audience.
It's like, sorry, audience, those 20 points I gave you are worth nothing.
No, seriously. But anyway,
Do not anger the audience.
yeah, this is the thing: is if you're doing it solely to get to make a name for yourself, as it were, then you're going to run out of motivation pretty quickly, because once you reach whatever milestone that you were like, oh, I definitely want to get X amount of followers. Once you actually get X amount of followers, you're going to be like, well, now what? You know, that's where your motivation will then, you know, peter out and vanish. And whilst it's not inherently a bad thing to want to become well known, it should not be the be-all and end-all reason for you doing it, because if you make that your sole reason, you're going to run out of motivation in no time.
Not only that, but I mean, you maybe only see interaction with possibly even 10% of your followers if you're lucky. I mean, we got about 1,600 followers on ours, reasonable compared to on the level of things, and we probably mainly only have about maybe 30 or 50 people actually comment or ask us any questions or even like our stuff. So the follower number almost becomes pretty meaningless.
Yeah, the other thing to keep in mind with the follower numbers and the engagement numbers is there's probably, I'd say there's 30 to 50 people here, I'm not counting.
If you are looking for followers, usually what works better is alternate interpretation of canon characters.
Oh yes, that is another thing I meant to bring up.
Unless you're unbelievable like Ask Pan or Flufflepuff, you have it very hard when you are doing an OC blog.
I was going to answer that.
Well, I answered it for you.
I was going to say, Mecha, do you want to use your I find that offensive flag?
my badly spelt, I find that offensive.
You can use mine. I can actually spell right, and I'm not even English.
I find that offensive as well.
I don't care. That is offensive to the English language.
The fact that it's poorly spelled makes it extra effective. But that is a thing to mention, that the engage people will more quickly engage with something if they have less investment to put in. If it's an OC, they don't know the character, so that it takes them a while to get to know the character. If there's a story, they have to catch up on it. Whereas if it's a canon who is doing, it's just like a gag a day, then they can just jump right in. So that's not to say you shouldn't do stories with OCs, it's just that you should expect to have to work harder for the same number of followers. Yes, Mecha?
I just wanted to say, like, even if you do a canon character ask blog, you don't really need to necessarily stick to that character's personality. You can just give it your own twist. Like, Robot Octavia, she's not smart and sophisticated like the real Octavia. No, completely different.
There isn't really a real Octavia. It's more of a fanon interpretation, I suppose.
I guess so, but I just wanted to
yes,
put that out there.
That is a good point, though. I suppose what a couple of us have done here, one was me and Mecha, is that we have kind of taken characters that don't really have. Well, when I started it, Spitfire didn't have a canon personality, so we just kind of filled in the blanks, and that's like a happy medium where you take something. That you take a gap in the show. That's actually, for a lot of ideas, you take a gap in what the show has established and just run with it. And that can get you a lot of, you can get a lot of mileage out of that. Yes?
Just one extra thing to add when you mentioned there that you know, if you're using essentially both, if you're using an OC and you're doing a story, that is, just for reference, that is essentially what Ask Britannia is. It is an OC, but it's the Buck mascot, and it's something that has a story. So it has been a struggle for us, but in spite of that, we still have managed to do well enough to have like 1,600 followers. So at the same time, don't be discouraged if that's what you want to do, is do an OC with its own story. You can still get people interested and invested in that. You just won't see it as readily as you would for something that's an alternate interpretation of a canon character or whatever.
I'll also say that even though you may, you go for the let's call it the easy option. You pick a popular canon character. You decide to do whatever with it. unless the writing's good and the artwork's good, or you just happen to hit that particular comic or popular thing that gets everybody liking it or gets enough people liking it, you're still going to struggle. It's not a guaranteed you will always get followers button, because to be honest, even a trope within Tumblr is, oh, it's an insert adjective here, Twilight Sparkle blog, or it's an insert, the lazy Doctor Hooves. It's, you know.
You can probably make a random generator with that.
Yeah.
Just like pick a word in the dictionary and then pick a character from a spinner.
What is it going to become like that Sonic the Hedgehog game?
Oh God!
Whatever insert your name here, the Hedgehog game.
Oh, yes.
Insert your name,
Yes.
your ask blog.
If you ever want to just completely cringe for 10 minutes solid, look up your name on Google image search, followed by the hedgehog.
Yeah.
You will find results that are just.
Mental bleach will be needed.
And you'll make a face like that.
Yeah. Well,
Sega as well.
yes, sort of like that. I think the other thing that I meant to bring up, which kind of got left behind, is that wanting to become famous isn't quite the same as getting motivation from feedback. Because that's essentially what I was describing when I was saying that, you know, I like followers. It's that when it can feel a bit discouraging to be making art and then shouting it into a void. So it's nice to know that someone's listening, and everyone is motivated differently. So some people are motivated by just finding people who are yeah, I like this, can we have more of it? And you get an audience and you work that. That is a way some people work. Some people work with no attention at all, and they just like hide all their stuff on their computer until they die. So they're both perfectly acceptable ways of doing it, but it's still what James said earlier about how the most popular things on the internet are just things that the people doing it loved doing. That still applies. They're not doing it for the sake of the attention. It's like even if the attention is motivating them, it's not for the sake of the attention.
When you look at your follower count, you don't have to think, oh, I only have 50 followers compared to this other person who has 1,000. You have to think, oh, I have 50 followers. I have to make sure that those 50 followers are happy with what they're saying.
What people forget a lot with the follower counts is just perspective on what those numbers are. I mean, 50 people is still a lot of people. I mean, like, we were talking about the follower count of Ask Britannia, 1,600. My school had 500 people in it.
Yeah.
And well, I can't visualize it. There's more people than are at this convention, you know? It's a lot of people.
When you have to say it like this, if you get so many followers that they can fit in your bedroom, you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good rule of thumb.
That's a very good way to measure it.
That's a rule of thumb.
Great at making a Tumblr.
Quite, John. Okay, so I think we've debated that point enough. Now, moving on from fame to infamy, what should you do? What should you do when everything is on fire and things are going wrong?
Don't panic.
That's a good start.
And you are the one
What
who
he
said
said.
that.
Is this also in regards to like if you start getting like?
I suppose
comments and stuff?
there are two questions in here. One of them is the diatribe of anonymous drivel that
Yeah.
I suppose we covered that earlier, which is just turn it off. You don't have to listen to the anons. The other one is that if somehow you have raised someone's "I find that offensive" flag.
Oh God.
Yes. So what should you do when everything's on fire?
Well, there are two ways of dealing with it. I mean, if you have gone and offended someone, like really seriously offended them, then there are two possible there's a few possible courses of action you can take. You can either try and respond to that, though if you're going to do that, it should really be something that's done privately, unless you have offended a massive group of people inadvertently. If you've just gone and made an anonymous mistake, and in so doing, you've upset a whole load of people, and then you get a whole load of complaints, that's probably something that you would then have to like publicly apologize for and say, okay, look, I didn't know this would upset so many people, and then explain it and say, this is what I meant by it. But if it's just one person that's just, prodding you and going, oh, I didn't like what you did with this, that, and the other, it's like, that's something that you can probably just ignore, or you can respond to privately and say, well, this is what was meant by that, and so on and so forth. And if they're still upset by that and they're not satisfied by it, then too bad.
Which unfortunately you can't do with anons because everything you reply to them would be made public. They're selfish buggers. So
Yeah. So if it's an anon doing it, just delete it or use the ignore
I'll give you
button.
all one tip. If there's an anon, if you press ignore on it, it goes to your ignore list and it actually lists the name of the person who has actually sent you the message.
Do you want to join the panel, Cheesy?
Yeah.
No, you can't join the panel.
No, you can't.
Should we
Sorry.
give him points?
He
Yes,
gets points.
I have points.
He gets points.
Yeah, sure. Give
Just
Cheesy 10 points.
Tip of advice, you know.
The other thing that you can do, although this is more based on instinct, you have to be very careful and think very carefully about what you're about to upload, and be very tasteful about it. If you can avoid politics and religion when doing a blog, you are pretty much safe on like almost 90% of the cases, because that's what usually upsets people on the internet, especially on Tumblr. So if you avoid those two subjects, you're safe.
I think there is a you have to figure out what the difference between, because this is the internet, so there are people who are going to be upset for no reason, particularly anons. If they yes.
I was just going to say, with what James said, this is why it pays to always have someone that you can run your material by before you upload it.
Yes,
So
a
if you
second
have
pair of
like
eyes.
Have a focus group, have a group of people,
have
a
some
group
friends,
of friends.
an editor, whatever. If you're worried about something, if you're looking over something, you think, I'm not entirely sure whether this is going to upset people if I upload it, run it by some other people. And if there's other people that you know, and make sure they're from like diverse backgrounds or whatever, don't just pass it to a bunch of people who are just going to be like yes men and just go, oh yes, it's fine. Don't do that. Unless all you want is just a bit of a bit of praise or whatever, or extra motivation.
ass
No.
patting.
Yeah, if you just want your back patted, then go ahead and do that. But if you want actual valuable opinion, then pass it to some peers that you have that you know are from diverse backgrounds and will be able to tell you whether or not they find it offensive. And if none of them are raising their "I find that offensive" flag, then chances are good that you
I'm
can
so glad
upload
I
it
made
without
this.
worry.
You want honesty from your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is why the advice for a lot of writers of books and stuff is to get opinions from strangers, because they won't feel obliged as your friend to tell you what you want to hear. But I suppose that's not always practical. So I think there is a merit in gauging the weight of a complaint. If it's anonymous, well, there's not really much you can do about that. They could be anyone for no reason. But you have to figure out the difference between someone just being whiny and upset on the internet, or someone who has actually been offended by something that you've done. And it takes a lot of knowing what you are talking about, being aware of yourself, and just knowing your biases and things like that. This is Tumblr after all, so we are surrounded by people who are very conscious of those kinds of things.
Goes back to what I said at the beginning. Don't try to please everybody. You're always going to make somebody angry, somebody upset, somebody offended.
Yeah.
Yeah, for every there is that kind of thing. That's like if you have like this wall of 99 compliments and one complaint, you will think more about the one complaint than the 99 compliments. But at the end of the day, you've got compliments from more people than are in this room. So,
I think it's best just not to let them get under your skin
Yes.
most of the time, unless it's something really, really big.
yes, Tumblr will either break you or teach you to have a thicker skin.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So now that we have deliberated that point quite a bit, how do you stay motivated to continue this silly endeavour of an Ask blog? Yes, Hazel.
Actually, just wanting to tell a story, caring enough about a character to want to see it through, or to, I mean, that is one of the benefits of a story. Well, it's one of the pitfalls and one of the benefits of a story blog. One, you feel obliged to try and finish the story. If you lose motivation with the story, then probably nothing's going to help you. But a generic sort of ask and response style blog, very often it can get to a point where it gets kind of stale, unless you shake the game up a wee bit. So caring about your own character is probably one of the biggest things.
You did it first.
I did it first.
You did it first.
Okay.
You did it first.
Second round. Quickest on the buzzer.
You did it first again. Go.
Just want to say, in terms of keeping going and everything, in a way, followers also do help with that. They can also help keep you motivated to keep doing what you're doing. Another thing I found is showing your work to your friends and everything. I mean, I know for a fact that I probably might have discontinued Robot Octavia if it wasn't for the sudden amount of followers and these guys right here telling me, like, to keep at it. And that is a good way to keep motivated. Me personally, it might help with you as well.
James,
Make sure that what you like, what you are doing with your blog, that you are doing it about something that you like. Like, Movie Slate is about movies, okay? I've been watching movies since I have memory. And in my family, we all love movies. So I am never going to get tired of watching movies and talking about movies, never. But if I had done it about video games, for example, I would have ended getting tired of it, and I might have discontinued it by now. But no, make sure that the subject matter is something that you like with a passion.
that is a very good thing about it. If it is something that you're incredibly invested in, you will find the motivation to go through the slog of, because you can burn out from doing the same thing a lot. Some people again, people are motivated quite differently. Some people need two or more things on the go at the same time, and they will bounce around between those projects, and it constantly stays fresh. Mecha?
As this was one last thing I wanted to add, just me personally, it could apply to anyone else, but having a plan also helps as well.
Yes. Again, some people are different. Some people work well off a plan, other people improvise, like this panel.
One of the things about plans is no good plan survives an encounter with an enemy. So you've got to be able to flex and bend with whatever your followers. If you are an interactive blog, choose to throw at you. So.
Yes, you plan accordingly for follower interaction.
And it could result in the entire plan changing. I mean, here's an example. How many people here actually are on Tumblr?
Wow!
How many people are aware of Ask Backy? Yeah. Right, that started off as a story blog. But then they found out that he got more followers by making cute butt jokes. So that's what he does. So, yeah.
That was actually originally a story blog.
And big googly eyes.
Backy was supposed to be a mercenary character.
So that is an example of the curve of investment to engagement. When something if it's just a single one-panel joke.
I find it amusing that you call it a curve when we're talking about.
Sketchy, control yourself.
That is another example of an OC blog that works really well.
Yes, they've managed to use the. They've managed to turn it against the tide. They've managed to turn the tide against the fact that it's an OC by. It's just really simple to get into something that it has cute art and it has just neat little jokes. Sean, quiet. So. I forgot where I was going with this.
Good job.
we were on about motivation.
Motivation, yes. Motivation was the question, or the lack thereof.
But I think
as Movie Slate demonstrates.
I think we've probably deliberated it.
Yes, we've probably covered as much as we can with that. Since the Twitter now we have we're going to turn on the anonymous asks and let you flood our inboxes with all kinds of poorly spelled drivel in the round of general ignorance.
It could be Tumblr Sunday.
Since the Twitter isn't working out, let's have some audience questions. Please keep it appropriate.
Gentleman there.
Do you find yourself jealous of people who are able to regularly update their blogs? Actually keep to a schedule?
On occasion, yes.
But we have this thing called real life.
Yeah.
And if we're going to use, just for example, because you said Asking Sombra, Wiggles is insane.
She is.
Yes.
And wonderful, and no one can approach her in terms of being able to actually regularly get out updates.
He totally doesn't have a crush on her.
He is my senpai.
I tried doing that 3 times a week schedule, but I can only really do it for a month at a time. Well, then Buck happened, and I'm working for Buck, so that I kind of took away from that. James?
I personally don't feel jealous of anyone who can update their blog daily, because if I can update it like once a week, That's more than I needed.
Mm,
That's more than Movie Slate needs.
Yeah, like a lot of webcomics only update once a week.
It kind of makes sense because if you look at other film reviewers like the Nostalgia Critic or Film Brain or Linkara, they will be uploading a video every week instead of doing daily. So it kind of makes sense with the format of the blog.
Yeah, yes, Sketchy.
I was going to say, I think a good perspective to keep would be not to try and keep yourself to other people's schedule, because if you're going to look at someone else that say like updates every day or updates every week and think, oh, why can't I do that? The reason that you can't do that is perhaps because you don't have the time to do that, you don't necessarily have the capacity to do that, and you should not judge yourself as, you know, being a terrible person because of that. You should if you're going to keep to a schedule, keep to the sort of schedule that you can actually keep.
Hazel has a job, I don't.
Yeah, if you set yourself an impossible goal, you're not going to hit it. So,
yes, personally, I subscribe to the CGP Grey model of sort of updating, where if you just focus on the quality of the content, then all the things like a regular update schedule come later. And if you can't keep up the regular updates, then that's fine, because if it's good enough, people will want to come back to it.
Quality over quantity.
Yes.
Plan ahead. If you have like an hard drive and you feel like drawing 3 updates in a row, do it and then schedule them to upload every 3 or 4 days. Because maybe tomorrow you will not have the motivation to do anything, and then you're gonna have like 2 or 3 weeks with no updates. People are going to say, oh, this blog has gone on hiatus, it's a barren of, there is nothing, this is dead. Like, plan ahead. Like, for example, I have like 2 updates on Movie Slate's queue that they are going to go up, one next week, one the week after. So
I'm really bad at doing that.
I guess, James, you're just subscribing to the old saying of Carpe Diem.
What?
Carpe Diem, seize the day.
Kind of like that, yeah. Also, because
I'm not 100% sure that actually means that, but... Yeah.
I talk a lot with the guy who mods Ask Pan Pony. He taught me about all the queue and all that, so I am basically following his advice. It's a very good advice, it works really well.
Okay. Let's move on to another question. Yes, I'll go from left to right. Yes, you.
Hey, question for James. What's it feel like being Hoers famous?
Screw you, twat. Okay, I think that answers that. What was the next question? Hazel.
Yeah, I was just going to say, to quote Little Karibo on that, you are now Hoers famous. It's as meaningless as it sounds.
Okay,
next question.
What was the next question? I was going from left to right.
That was over there.
Who was the next person?
I could have sworn I saw a hand go up over there somewhere.
Yeah.
There's lots.
Just keep looking at me, Joe.
I'm looking at the person beside you. Yes, you.
What about when you eventually get to that point where you decide I'm getting a bit fed up with this? What about making a graceful departure?
Graceful departures, that is interesting, because I have kind of made one myself. I finished my blog in May. Because it wasn't because I've been kind of, sorry, I'm answering another question. You're going to have to wait a bit. It's not so much that I was losing motivation for the ponies, it's just that I need to do things with my life other than spend all of it on Tumblr. So I need to do something else. But there are quite a few blogs where the author has just kind of got up and left and not said anything, and people kind of sit around waiting like lost dogs for the next update. At the very least, tell someone where you're going, or if you can, finish the story, gives people some kind of closure, and just be polite, be a decent person. Don't tell everyone to, sod off. I think it's as simple as that, really. There isn't a trick to it. Yes, you had a question.
Okay, do mustache give you extra boost to creativity?
Ask James.
Okay. What? Sketchy has a mustache as well.
That's because I haven't really shaved. I'm more like beard power.
See, that's the history.
I actually have a very good answer for that. No, believe me. Mustache or not, that's the same thing. Even if you have a good tablet to bad tablet to nothing, that it has nothing to do with what you have. It's what you can do with it.
Yeah.
I like that answer.
Then could you prove it by shaving it?
I will tell you one. I will tell you one thing. I will tell you one
Okay.
thing. If I shave this off, I'm going to look like I am 16. I don't want to.
Oh, I know that effect. That's why I've been
This baby
cultivating
face
this
of
kind
mine, I can take this
soul
off.
patchy thing. Yes. Okay. There were some more questions over here. I will go with the red-headed gentleman.
It was mentioned earlier that there were having asks from 2012.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you would say asks have an expiry date, or if I can just...
That depends on the format of your blog.
Can we answer that?
If you have a story, yes.
Yeah. I will answer that because we do have some very, very old asks in our inbox. However, to give you some perspective, there was an ask that we used in an update fairly recently, which I think we'd gotten back when we started, thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Ask Britannia has been going since, I think, late 2012. So I don't think... It depends on what you're doing, but if you're doing a story blog, if you're doing a story-based thing, and someone asks you a good question, but you can't answer it right now, then there is no reason why, there is no rule that says you cannot save a good question for when it's pertinent to what's going on and you want to make good use of it.
What I will add to that, though, is if you are going to be asking questions to a blog, don't just write down every single thought that pops into your head into that one question, because there may be wonderful, insightful, brilliant thoughts, but they're useless to an artist because, you know, you can't answer all three in succession. You know, in one blog, it's kind of dedicating the time.
But
as well, if it's...
You've talked enough. James.
In the case of, just about the 2012 questions, those were mine. The very last question that I have, the oldest one, is for a movie called Bringing Up Baby. That's, of course, that's a classic. It's not going to get dated. But if, for example, there is a popular movie going on and people ask movies like to review that movie when that movie's off the theaters, then it makes no sense later on to review it, unless it passes the challenge of time, which some movies don't. Transformers. Okay.
Yes. I just want to say, I find it's best to keep some a lot of the asks that you don't answer around, because you never know when you might look through your asks and then you might see something and it might give you an idea. So I think it's best to keep them around, don't delete them, just have them there just in case.
Okay. Addendum to that, sometimes you will go to your inbox and then you click, by mistake, clear inbox, all the questions are gone. Advice for...
No, only you do that.
No, I don't. Yeah. And this is why I don't do it. Whenever I go to my ask, to my inbox, I load the entire thing and then I save the page. And then I save all of the questions inside my hard drive.
That is a very good idea.
That way you don't lose them.
Yeah.
I should do that.
Yeah, you should. Yes. It's a very good thing. I don't know why so few people do it.
Hazel, you had a point.
Yeah, I was just going to say that when it comes down to how which questions can basically have a longer expiry date than others, it all comes down to timing.
If you're doing a format like Movie Slate, you can save them for a long time if it's just a gag a day and they're abstract. If you have a story, the expiry date on the question is as long as the content of the question. Some story questions can be used from the beginning of the blog. Some pertain to very recent events. I think we have maybe time for maybe we get 2 more questions. Depends how long they go. I know you had the question in the back there with the steampunk goggles. Hello.
I was wondering, what's your views on using the Tumblr, the way Tumblr displays photo sets?
That is interesting. I suppose you want to broaden that to a question about just using the format of Tumblr itself as a way of my 9 a.m. is showing. Just as part of your format. I don't do it a lot myself. In fact, I kind of use the photo set format to just get out of having to do panel arrangements for the comic style. But I have seen people, I think I've seen Cyberpunk Spitfire, which is one of my absolute favorite blogs that I do. She was saying about how giving gracefully departing, it hasn't updated for a while and I don't know where the mod has gone. But I have seen Cyberpunk Spitfire do things like include what looks like the description of the post as part of the photo, and then there's a bit of the art projecting over it for effect. Does anyone else have anything to add to that?
Yes. Well,
Forgetting how to use your buzzer there, Hazel.
tigers.
Just shout tiger.
A lot of it comes down to working out which perspectives work well for when you export an image, because sometimes if you are using a photo set, what looks good on the dashboard, when you click on the image, which, secret, if you click on an image, it makes it bigger.
Tumblr 101.
Dun dun dun.
You'd be surprised how many people don't know that. And yeah, as you're rolling through what you think was an image that was perfectly legible in format, it turns out it's been squished down into this tiny format as a result. So if there's one thing that you can do for photo sets, make sure that they're the right proportions. What were the ones?
Yeah, there's a common aspect ratio that Tumblr uses. It uses a 16:9 aspect ratio. That basically means for every 16 pixels across the bottom of the picture, there are 9 pixels up. So resolutions such as 1920 by 1080, 1280 by 720, etc. Those are resolutions that Tumblr likes.
The other thing is the largest image you can put on Tumblr is 1,280 pixels across.
Yeah, so it would be 1280 by 720 in that aspect ratio. We have actually, though, we do use 1920 by 1080 on Britannia, and it will blow up to that resolution if you view it full size. So it does actually accommodate the full size image, it just will not display it if you're using like the thing where you just click on an image and it brings it up in the viewer. It won't display that. Unless you had a really vast monitor, then it might do that.
With movies, like they keep it in like 1200 wide by whatever it is tall, because like it's always panoramic, because movie format. So it doesn't matter.
Basic rule of thumb: always make sure you're using a widescreen aspect ratio, and you should be fine.
I'm going to be honest.
Wizard.
I forgot to switch the thing. I'm going to be honest here in saying that I generally had no idea that was a thing, what you guys have just said. What I've been doing, I have actually just been, like, on a Paint Tool side canvas, I've been working at the 1024 by
768, yeah. 4:3 aspect ratio works fine as well.
It's just that, like, when it comes to like actually putting the posts up on Tumblr, I just like put them up and organize them. So, like this one panel is going to be, like, in the preview, it's going to be on its own in a big one. It's going to be 2 at the top and then 2 at the bottom. So I got like 5 pictures at a time. So yeah, I just wanted to throw in my 2 cents there.
Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties here.
My microphone was on the floor.
Oh!
How did that happen?
I'll take a question from you while we wait.
Yes, does any of you do live stream? And if so, when?
Live streaming. I try live streaming for about 3 streams and then I get bored of it. I know James streams a lot.
Is the main streamer out of a lot of us. He streams quite an awful lot.
He does, yeah.
He does when he's not really busy.
I try to stream like between 3 to 4 times a week, usually just for 3 to 4 hours. And I don't know, basically the way that you can use live stream as a tool because it keeps you focused.
But don't actually use live stream because live stream's horrible.
Yes.
I use Picarto because live stream
Picarto is a lot better.
Live stream not only is horrible, it's starting to charge people like ninjas. They don't tell you they are charging you money, but they are. So you have to be careful with that.
Plus, I think the Procaster, that eats up your computer's CPU
yes,
like
what
a
I
monster.
What I use is Picarto and something called Open Broadcasting software.
Yes. Open Broadcaster software, yes.
Which that guy with the hat over there, not that hat, the other hat, showed me how to do, how to use. But yeah, I try to use streaming as a tool because you have people looking at you. And when you have people looking at you doing art, you focus a lot. You can either, well, it depends on the person. I focus a lot better because I am like, oh, I have people looking at me. I better concentrate on this and get this done and get this good.
What I do with streaming is the only stream I really liked is when I did a 24-hour charity stream on my birthday. And I was like, I've forgotten what to do with birthdays now that I'm not 10. So I had a lot of fun with it, so I'll probably do it again. So like, you can do like event streams. You don't have to stream regularly like James does. You can do a big stream.
Tell me when it is and I will join it.
Okay, really? I'll do that later.
I love doing
It's going to have to be quick, Hazel, because
I will. I'm just saying that live streaming is one of those things that can be very effective, but at the same time, it also depends on your home life. Like, I happen to have one where my office is basically a through door for everybody. So if you've got constant people toing and froing and asking you questions in real life, who's going to listen into that?
Ensure that you will not be disturbed when you are streaming. Okay, I see 2 questions, and we're going to have to take them very quickly. You.
Would it be a good idea to advertise your
Tumblr on a podcast or anything else like that?
Yes.
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 Question. Well, is he personally, I subscribe to the Daft Punk model of promotion, where it's like make it and they will come, but you do have to let people know that it exists at the very least. You can promote it more, but it's not something I like doing.
As far as if you want to get your stuff known, I mean, this is me speaking more as a musician now than an artist. But if you want to get your stuff known, you have to tell people you're doing it. If you don't tell people what you're doing, people are not going to know about it. Whereas if you tell people what you're doing, they're going to know about it. And if people like what you're doing, they're going to tell other people what you're doing, and then it will spread by word of mouth, which is, it's been proven time and time again to be the most effective method of marketing, is other people telling other people what they've seen.
You have to be confident enough that you want to put it out there and you want to promote it as much as you can.
Yeah.
Okay.
With that said, you can still promote things via other means. I mean, one of the things I do, I have a regular show on Free Network, and when I'm doing that, I tend to promote these guys' blogs as well as Ask Britannia. So when I'm doing that, I will do that.
Okay, there was one last question over there. I thought I saw a hand up. Over there. We'll take it if...
I think there might be one here that's on the Tumblr account. I got asked yesterday that do I have a Tumblr? I said no. And I just wondered what benefits Tumblr does to your life.
It destroys it. Yes, Tumblr will destroy your life. Sorry.
I didn't hear the question.
The question was the question, what will Tumblr do? Sorry?
Well, as a busy man.
What will Tumblr do for your real life? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about Tumblr is that you have to master the Tumblr, not let the Tumblr master you. So you have to fit it around your real life commitments. Like,
Also, grasshopper.
Sorry.
To give it a very simple breakdown of the benefits of Tumblr would be that if you have a Tumblr account that allows you to follow other blogs that you like, so if you like looking at other Ask Pony blogs or whatever, then it allows you to aggregate all of those into one single page where you can get all the updates nice and easily, and you can also do that on a smartphone if you have one. That's about the main major benefit to you from the perspective of I'm busy and I don't have time to run one of my own.
The question was?
The question was, what will Tumblr do for your life? I think, was that it?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, just about what will Tumblr do for you and how do you fit it into a busy schedule?
It'll do to your life as much as you let it do.
Yes.
You have to be able to control it. It is easy that in this day and age, almost everything can become an addiction. You have to be careful with how much you use it and how much you let it take control of your life.
Yeah, my answer has to be pretty much the same as James' right here.
Yeah, like for a long time, Tumblr was pretty much all I do, and now I'm a year unemployed, and all I've done is Tumblr.
At the same time, like any social media, it also allows you to get in touch with like-minded people, and you might make connections and friendships that you never realised would happen otherwise.
You can also improve your art a lot if you're kind of smart and learn all the time. So that will have to be the last question because we are running out of time, and that brings us to the final scores for this morning on the Tumblr radar with 10 points. Hazel! Really?
How do they keep score?
Almost Tumblr famous on 8 points. James Corck, who asked me this like.
Notice me, senpai.
Still learning to draw on 7 points. Sketchy!
Yay.
And banned for harassment, 6 points. Mecha! But yes, the audience has won on, well, I rolled 11 points, but you did get 20 points during the course of the audience. Audience, give yourselves a round of applause. So, we hope you found our discussion as informative as it was amusing and vice versa, which was hopefully a lot, unless it was a little. And if you wish to find out more, you can ask us personal questions. You can look for us after the panel. We will be around. James will probably be on the merch table.
Yeah, I'm going to be on table 27. That is the guest vendor table. By the way, don't leave yet. I want to take a picture of all of you guys.
Okay.
Because my family is not going to believe this, for starting. But also is just so you know that without you guys, this wouldn't be possible.
Yeah. I will probably be on the registration desk because I'm working. Where will you guys be?
In an Creative Corner.
Yeah, I'll be hanging around the Creative Corner mostly.
Well,
We'll also be roaming around. You can also find us by these little badges which James created as well.
Yes.
Yeah. If you want to
Yes, James made these very good combat badges for us. Mine's on a chair.
Yeah, the creative corner, just in case anyone hasn't actually been able to find it, which would not surprise me, it's the cordoned off area in the main hall over there. That's probably where we will be hanging
And
out.
I have these.
So by all means, if you want to ask us any questions, and we're vain Tumblrites, so of course we're going to want to answer.
Okay, yes, we like the attention. So as you go off into the high-vis jackets-only zone of Tumblr, take these words of advice from Oscar Wilde. If you want to tell people the truth, make them laugh, otherwise they'll kill you. Good morning!